Hi guys, I'm Dave from Speed Academy, and today we're going to show you the difference between a true track tire and a street tire. If you're relatively new to taking your car to the racetrack, chances are you're going there on a true street tire. This is our 350Z, which you can check out on our YouTube channel, by the way, Speed Academy. And we've equipped it with Nitto's NT555 G2s. It's a 320 treadwear tire. And as you can see, it's got a typical summer tire tread pattern on it. Lots of siping in it for rain performance, big shoulder blocks for good dry grip. This is a very good ultra high performance summer tire. It's used by Vaughn Gittin Jr. in professional drifting, and it's used by lots of performance car and muscle car enthusiasts because it's a great summer tire, great street tire, and it's able to take the heat here at the racetrack. However, if you want to go faster and you want something that can take the heat even better, meaning it'll last longer on the track before it starts to get too hot and your lap times will start to drop off, then it's time to step up to something like this. This is Nitto's NT01. This is one of the longest lasting 100 treadwear semi-slicks, as we call them, or track tires. DOT are compounds, some people refer to them as. And as you can see, it has much bigger tread blocks, very little in the way of siping. So this is not really designed for the rain. This is really designed to give you the ultimate in dry performance. The only way to step up from this would be to go to a true racing slick, which is not something you could drive on the street. This is actually a DOT tire, so you could drive it on the street. Wouldn't necessarily recommend doing that, but on the racetrack, these are an absolute blast. And if you know anything about the NT01s, you know they're a very long-lasting R compound. This is probably one of the longest-lasting ones on the market. It's been around for a long time, and for good reason. Guys just can't wear them out. They get a ton of longevity on the racetrack out of them, as well as a much higher grip level than a street tire. So we're gonna go out and do some lap times on the street tire, show you how quick we can go on those. Then we'll switch over onto these R compounds and show you how much faster the car gets. And I should mention, by the way, that the tires are all 275 35/18s all around, both in these NT555 G2s and in the NT01s. Although we are on a staggered wheel, it's just what we had available. 18 by 9.5 front, 18 by 10.5 rear. Very close in weight, so there's really no discrepancy there to deal with. So I'm just going to do a quick warm-up lap here, get a little heat in the tires and a little heat in the brakes, and then I'm going to let it rip. Coming around to the last corner here onto the front straight on my first hot lap. And so far, the car's feeling good. Nice balance out of that last turn. And we will see how these 555 G2s like the braking zones and this fairly high speed and bumpy turn one. Good grip on the brakes. Okay, nice neutral balance in turn one there. She will slide a little bit, as any car will do on a summer tire that you push to the absolute limit. The important part is that the breakaway characteristic is nice and gradual. So when it starts to lose traction, it does that in a gradual way where you can feel what the car is doing, and you can dial that back out with a little throttle steer, a little counter steer, a little lift of the throttle, whatever you need to do. Straighten it back out. But good mid-corner grip there. I like what I'm getting out of these 555 G2s so far. You can see why you muscle car guys and Vaughn Gittin Jr. likes them for drifting. A little sideway action there into the middle chute. We are coming down through the chicane here, catching us an Audi. I'm gonna show this guy who's boss on our 555 G2s here. He's gonna end up holding me up a little bit, but that's okay. I should get a clean lap in on the second go around here and see what we get for a lap time. We got us a little M2 competition here. Who wants to show me who's boss? I mean, this is part of the fun of being at an open lapping day, everybody. And as you can see on these G2 as you can see on these 555 G2s, we are still giving these guys a run for their money in their higher performance sports cars. So kudos to Nitto for building a summer tire that can hang with these big dollar German stuff. I don't think this guy's used to the pressure of having a bright red 350Z all up in his grill. He's got a lot of motor in a straight line, but he can't hang with me in the corners, everybody. He can't take what the Nittos are giving him. All right. right, this is our third lap, and I feel like the tires are starting to let go a little bit on me. They're just giving that little bit of greasy feel that happens as a tire overheats, and that's just typical of any street tire with full tread depth, where the tread blocks will vibrate, build up a lot of heat, and then as they overheat, they will lose grip. That's just the way tires work, everybody. So it's an unfortunate consequence, and that's the compromise you make when using a street tire at the racetrack, is you will overheat them in a matter of laps. Let's say in 3 laps in our case here at this track on this car with this tire. And we will show you on those NT01s how much longer you can lap before you start to see a fall off in your lap times, like I'm confident we're going to see on this lap. So let me just finish this lap off here. But yep, I can really feel the lack of traction coming out of these last few corners, picking up a little understeer in the front end too as the front tires overheat. So all in all, I would say we are 3 laps and done, which is very typical of a high performance street tire in my experience. So the good news is these work really well before they overheat. Really nice neutral handling balance, and confidence inspiring at the limit. They communicate really well. They talk to me, and by that I mean they make noise, and that noise changes as you approach the limit of adhesion. So they get louder and higher pitch as you start to overdrive them. So they tell you when you're pushing them too hard, and then they pick up that bit of greasiness as they overheat in quite a gradual way. So again, very predictable and easy to feel what they're doing. So a nice tire to learn on at the racetrack. They really do talk to you. And as my lap timer shows me, I did a best of a 125.81, which is pretty good in a stockish 350Z around here. And my lap times got a little bit slower every lap after that. So my fastest lap was on my 2nd lap. Then my 3rd lap, I went a ½ second slower. And then on my 4th lap, I went a 10th slower again. So the tires were just getting progressively greasier after that 3rd lap. So as is, I think, fairly typical of a high performance street tire, after about 3 laps, they just start to overheat and get greasy, and you start to go a little bit slower. It's not dramatic. The drop off happens quite gradually, which is good because you can feel it as a driver. You can feel the traction falling off, both in terms of it wanting to understeer on corner entry and then struggling a bit for traction on corner exit. So, but overall, I was really impressed by the grip level that we had out of these tires. I think it's a very competitive 320 treadwear ultra high performance summer tire. I would put these up against pretty much any other 320 treadwear tire I can think of, and I think they would perform really admirably in that kind of a test. So I like the tire a lot, and it's good fun. You can drift on them a bit too if you want to. So very communicative tire, really easy to drive at the limit. So I think it's time to throw the NT01s on there and see how much faster we go and see how much longer we can go fast for. All right. Let us put some temperature into these NT01s. They are brand spanking new, so it's going to take a minute to scrub them in a bit, get some temperature into them. But one thing that I do like about the NT01s is that they work well right off the bat. They don't tend to need a ton of temperature in them to generate some good grip, which makes them a really good autocross tire, a good time attack tire, a good HPD tire. Really, it's a very forgiving tire, so you don't have to stress too much about, obviously you don't want to use them when it's like really cold out, but they don't need a ton of temperature in the track or in the compound itself to make decent grip. And then as you get them up into their sweet spot for temperature, which is about 60 to 80 Celsius or 160 to say 220 Fahrenheit, that's really where they're going to work their best. Turning is, wow, you can feel it's got a much stiffer sidewall and the grip level is high. It's going to take me a minute to recalibrate my brain here to the higher grip level. And the turn-in response from this stiffer sidewall and less tread squirm definitely gives it a racier feel, a much more immediate feel through the steering wheel. But you can hear they still do squeal a bit, so you do still get that audible feedback that you want to have, so you know you're approaching the limit. Wow, yeah, the turn-in grip and the turn-in response is much higher, and I would say mid-corner G-forces are going to be much better too. Oh they're good on the brakes too. I mean, it's just a softer, stickier tire, much less tread squirm, stiffer sidewalls. It just feels quite a bit racier. Gives you a lot of confidence to carry speed into the higher speed sections. More body roll because the grip level is so high. I feel like I could turn up the dampers, get a little bit more aggressive with the setup, but we just want to show you the tires, not really get into the whole chassis tuning side of things. But it does show you that as you add mechanical grip through a stickier tire like this, that it opens up options for stiffening up the spring rates and reducing body roll and giving you an even more responsive car. Wow, look at that. It's just so well balanced. Loving it. Well guys, I'm starting to get a long brake pedal here. I would say we're 5 laps into this session and I'm not seeing any kind of reduction in tire grip or greasiness from these NT01s. They just feel super consistent. It feels like I could lap on these all day. It's really pretty amazing. I am going to run out of other components on this car before I run out of tires. So I think we've kind of made the point here that a true track tire like this is going to be more durable in track conditions where they're just designed to take the heat and shed the heat better than a street tire does. So I am not able to overheat these tires before I overheat my brakes and maybe my engine. So I think it's time we park this thing, let the brakes cool down, and have a chat about lap times. There you have it, everyone. Did a best of a 1:23.3, which is 2.5 seconds faster than I went on these 555 G2s. And that is a very significant improvement in lap time. But more importantly, it really does change the whole driving experience. The NT01s have obviously a lot more grip and thus turn a faster lap time, but they also give you a much more immediate feel on turn-in because of the stiffer sidewall and the much bigger tread block on the outer shoulder. So there's no tread squirm like these have because you basically have no tread pattern to work with. So it's just got this incredibly stable, grippy feel on the track, which gives you that great turn-in feel, and then just the grip builds to the apex and you've got really good traction coming out of the corner. So all in all, it really does change the way the car feels and drives. You feel much more like you're in a race car because you're on much more of a race tire. But I will say that these 555 G2s were a lot of fun to drive. They give you a lot of audible feedback, so it's a really good tire to learn with because as you approach the limit, they get louder and louder. And then when they start to break loose, they do so very gradually. So it's a really good tire to have fun on, to learn about the limits of your tire and of your car. And because it's not as grippy, it's not going to break away as you're not going as fast. So if you get into a bit of a slide, your speeds aren't as high. So it's, I think, a much safer tire to learn on at the racetrack. But when you're ready to step up and go faster, I think the NT01s are a really great option for that because, man, what a predictable, stable tire. I could not get them to fade after 5 laps. My brakes were fading, but my lap times were not because this tire was just so grippy. I saw no signs of them getting greasy or any kind of like drop off in mechanical grip. You know, if we had more brakes on the car, we would have just kept going. So very impressed by how stable this tire is, how well it handles the heat. But really enjoyed the 555 G2s as well as a great combination of street ability and still come out to the track and have fun for a few laps. And just be wary that they will get greasy after a few laps, and don't destroy them by like overheating them and keep lapping for lap after lap. Just treat them with respect and understand what you're working with. You're gonna have a lot of fun and you're gonna drive home safely in the rain on these. So thank you very much for watching, everyone. I hope you found this to be an informative and helpful video for the next time you go shopping for street tires or track tires.